There we go. It seems that when I switch back to this scene, my mic mutes. I gotta check that out. That's also another point of what we're doing tonight. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I am Tom. I am the Astro Canuck. And usually, 99% of the time, we're here to bring you images of the cosmos. However, it is fairly windy. I say fairly windy. We have about 24 mile an hour sustained winds with about 30 to 35 mile an hour gusts. So that is no good. That's no good for the telescope right now. That's not doing a whole lot for us. 754 First Fusion, how are you? What's up? Hey, thanks for joining in. We are doing a little bit of a different format tonight. We're still it's still an astronomy based episode that we're doing. However, like I said, we have some high winds today, and despite the clear skies that are forecast, the telescope is going to be too shaky. We're not going to get any meaningful images out of the scope tonight. So what I'm going to do is just hang around for a little bit and just kind of chat a little bit about what I do, just about astronomy in general. Some people like to pop in, pop out, and if you like to lurk, that's totally fine. It's just an easygoing stream trynight. I don't know how long we'll kind of stick around for, but it's just a chilled environment tonight, really. I'm trying to do some more things with the channel altogether, and just improve things, because things have recently improved in our community, and I have attained the rank of affiliate the other day, and there's been a lot going on trying to figure out exactly what it is, all the little bits and pieces to do with the stream that'll just keep it fresh, keep it interesting. And I've had this kind of format for about a month now, because we started streaming back in, I believe it was the 1st of October was our first stream. So in 30 days, we were able to reach affiliate, which was really good, and it's just one of those things. I didn't know that this was the challenge that I wanted, and so it was met that one head on and worked pretty hard to kind of get to this point already. So it's just a matter of trying to do some stuff here. James, wasn't sure you'd be at it today due to the wind. Pumped you're here. Hey, thanks. We're probably not going to do any live astrophotography tonight because the winds are too high. Like I said, we're at 24 miles an hour sustained winds, 30, 35 mile an hour gusts. So it's not ideal conditions to be doing any photography tonight. However, tomorrow night's forecast looks even better than was originally planned or originally forecast, because we have clear skies the whole night, and there's like almost no wind. The dew point is well below our temperature range, so we shouldn't have any issues throughout the night, or as long as I can stay up for. So it's it's going to be like tomorrow night's going to be a lot more dynamic. Tonight, what I'm going to do is pretty much just kind of, if anybody kind of comes in, wants to chat about anything, really, mainly it's probably going to be astrophotography and astronomy based focus. But what I want to do is almost even a bit of a faux pas, and stuff that can kind of make things fall apart, is I might even just adjust my interface here a little bit, because I think what I've liked when I do the gaming is I have a much larger talking head screen with the more of the peripherals in a tinier position. So I think overall I want to keep all of that bar up at the top. I think that's fine. That's working well. And again, my internet is why all of a sudden my Ethernet drops out. There we go. Right. Yeah, just to keep all this up at the top because that's working there, and maybe adjust it a little bit as to maybe reflect who the latest subscriber is to kind of show my thanks for them as well. And yeah, so our latest follower, 754 First Fusion, welcome to the observatory. Very happy to have you in our group, and it's just been a really interesting and kind of wholesome experience doing this, and just kind of seeing this community grow. At a fairly I guess, to me, everything has grown nice and steady. It's been, things have moved along at a pace that I figured and hoped that they kind of would. I wasn't expecting anything astronomical, if you pardon the pun there, but just seeing everybody kind of come together for astronomy. And because there's so much to see looking up in the sky, even just looking up without using any binoculars, any cameras, any telescopes, and just kind of soaking in the night sky. And it's those kind of nights where I'm able to be out there imaging, but at the same time it's nice enough weather that you're out there able to enjoy what's going on around, because for the most part I'm shooting a very focused area of the night sky, and there's so much that's going on around there. And especially when you kind of come to times with like meteor showers, and because those you're generally gonna miss those shooting deep field images. Wide field, you're gonna have a better chance of catching some stray meteorites coming through the atmosphere there. Definitely if you're shooting with like a DSLR with a very wide focal length, even 18, 25 millimeters or even less, depending on what you're doing, that's when you're gonna catch more. You're gonna catch more events in the sky, and even just get a better image of the Milky Way. So when you're kind of shooting towards the Milky Way, you are going to get a lot more stars in your image there, and like things like in the that way there up there for the ASIR, we had shot the Pelican Nebula, and that is kind of in the Cygnus area, the Cygnus constellation. And there's just generally going to be more stars in your image when you're shooting towards the center of the Milky Way. Now, just above me where Stellarium should be, I've left that off right now just to try. I'm just doing a bit of a test to see how much resources I'm using on the computer right now to try and keep the computer happy. And not overwhelm it, because there was the other night when I opened up Space Engine to kind of look around, it didn't like that. It slowed down considerably and pretty much felt like it was going to crash. So I'm going to take things easy with the laptop tonight, and we're going to take a look back at just some previous images that we've shot. And maybe some that I really hadn't taken while we were doing this, while we were doing the like those 10-minute images. Now within this I really can't do much editing of the histogram with the ASIR like this. However, there are some cool things that are available in there, is to use the annotation tool, and you can kind of pick out, it'll label what it is you're looking at there. And it also kind of gives you an idea with this of when you are going to shoot the Pelican Nebula, IC 5070, is that's where it's going to center on. So I do know that I'm going to get that awesome little cloud and this area, and this I can't have my pointer on there, but that those two bright stars there that kind of looks like Deadpool's head, and which I myself just call that the Wade Wilson Nebula. But the yeah, this annotations, these the green circles there, have been just recently added, probably about, pardon me, a few months ago now. So I was recently going through my Comet Neowise data and saw what might be a meteor streaking by, but it also looks like pictures I've seen of iridium flares. Got any knowledge on iridium flares? For the most part, at this point now, iridium flares are non-existent. Those satellites have basically been pretty much decommissioned or deorbited, and they're no longer going to be reflecting any light. So chances are you did catch a meteorite streaking through there, because generally you're going to see that is yeah, you get that thin band, those points of light, it expands and then this goes and it just fades away. Whereas when like satellites or airplanes or anything like that, it is a nice solid consistent band of light that's going across there. So there's a good chance that it may have been a meteor. Let's see if I can where is, now if I open up Firefox, it's going to, no, I was going to see if I need to have like another window kind of ready, because I don't know if I have my image of when I was shooting the California Nebula, I had some meteors, a meteor go through that shot. And yeah, no, definitely if you have like a definite point, a larger middle, and then another point, then that would be a meteor going through there. Whereas yeah, an iridium flare, for its proximity, it's most likely going to yeah, it'll be a longer, more sustained streak than a short meteor coming through there. And those are the kind of photobombs that I do not mind at all, because just how much debris that Earth plows through every day, and the chances of you looking at that certain point of the sky and catching it is, you know, if you're doing it accidentally, then yeah, it's great to catch those. If you're doing it on purpose, then you know that you're going to be looking towards maybe like where the radiant is out of a meteor shower. So you're going to kind of definitely make a point to look in that area. So yeah, definitely that should most likely that it could be a meteor. If it's a long, let's see if I can find a shot with a satellite that's gone through there. What gets me some nights is when the very first shot of the evening, a satellite plows through your image, and it feels like I could possibly set the tone for the whole evening, and you're just wondering if that whole section of the sky is going to be cursed or not. So this was what we're looking at now is the star Saturn up at the top there, and this is just a single 4-minute exposure of our background image. That's the Gamma Cygni Nebula. So kind of coming from this to, see if I have a blank screen. There we go. So from this to that, it's a big jump in how much processing is done with the image there. But see, I'm trying to see if there's any other satellites that have. Sometimes you get some real bright ones, and they are very pronounced. However, let's see. The file system on the ASI Air is, well, I mean, it's not bad. What was I shooting here? M57, so I was shooting the Ring Nebula. All right, so this looks like I was shooting at with my Skywatcher 72 ED, so at 250 millimeters. The Ring Nebula is also, you can see these the bright hazy areas around the clouds, around the stars were clouds that were rolling through that night. And yeah, the guiding was, I can already see that it was affected by the clouds rolling through. But yeah, the Ring Nebula is a very tiny target to be shooting at 200 and some odd millimeters. So even at the focal length I'm at right now, it is still a very tiny target. Like I would have to almost use a native focal length with a Barlow on there, maybe 2, maybe 3 times to really get some close-up shots of the Ring Nebula. And I think the Helix Nebula would be a better kind of similar looking planetary nebula that would be better to shoot. However, that is, I have maybe like a 20-minute window of when I could actually shoot it, and then how it's so low in the sky for me that it wouldn't be it wouldn't do any good to try and shoot that, even at it with a 10-minute, even trying to get a 10-minute image. It would have to be a very specific time to catch that. So yeah, I just have to kind of work with what I got, really, because those trees aren't coming down. Neighbor's house isn't going anywhere. So the next option would be to try and plan a remote session. But those can, like if I had initially looked at the weather tonight, I would almost figure that, yeah, it could be good. But, high winds, you're not going to get any imaging done. But yeah, usually the weather is, when we have clear weather, we have decent skies. We'll have calmer winds. Even if it was at maybe 17 miles an hour or lower, we could probably deal with that. But unfortunately, I can just see the trees have been whipping around too much, and it's just not going to be favorable, unfortunately, because I was really hoping to do some more imaging tonight. However, I did want to just still kind of come out, and if anyone wants to pop in, have a chat about astronomy, be sticking around for a bit. Probably won't boot up any games, because I think I'll kind of even maybe take this as a cue to have a little more relaxing evening afterwards. Just kind of chill out a bit there. But at the same time, if we get more people popping in and just having there was some good conversations on previous nights, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and it's it comes in waves. You just got to be fine with how things go. And really, for the most part, I am, like I said, I'm happy to bang on about astronomy as much as possible, and happy to always answer any questions, because at one point none of us knew anything about the stars, and you just kind of pick up from stories, you pick up from different books, any kind of documentaries, credible documentaries. Like I think who's one of Jim Al-Khalili is a very interesting astronomer who and physicist who I have enjoyed watching his programs and reading some of his books. So it's kind of, Brian Cox is good. I think even watching him and Dara O'Brien on BBC, it's always interesting to see them because you're reaching that certain level of viewership that may not always tune in to an astronomy program on purpose. So if you're kind of throwing that in the middle of things, you kind of catch those fringe fans who may not be too sure about if they are actually in astronomy. Just tweeted that NeoWise pic at your stream announcement on Twitter. Definitely think you're right. The length of the streak is much more visible when it did a curve adjustment. All right, I'm going to take a look at that then. It's interesting. Do you have the... I'm looking at it, and I don't know if it looks like there's some... If it's just like the noise, whatever, just a little bit of jitteriness to it. So maybe that is a very long... That's a long tail leading up to it. What focal length were you at there? Because I'm also looking at it, looks very kind of uniformed and white for the light that's coming off of it there. And generally, I've seen meteors, you almost get more of a blue or a green kind of tint that comes off of it there. But because that might even be a satellite. Just seeing how that tail still, how it trails off. There's still a long trail for that there. 250 millimeters focal length. Yeah. Interesting. Let me find my meteor image there. Just compare it against that, just to see, because I would almost say that maybe that was a satellite. That maybe in kind of one of the... No, I don't think it would be Starlink, because it would still be a lot brighter. No, I'm sorry. I'm comparing our encounters with the meteors there. Yeah, I would. I mean, it has like the characteristics of a meteor that's gone through there, but it's just the fact that it's like a nice white light that you're seeing there. I would vote for 70% meteor. But if there's anybody else who may catch that that tweet there, who wants to, let's see. See if I can mention a couple other people in there, see if they have an opinion. We'll have a look there. Putsy, how are you doing, man? How's your stream going? Hey. I know that guy. I know that guy over there. Doing good, man. Cool. Yeah, we are stuck with some windy weather. Hey, Full Mind, welcome to the observatory. Thank you very much for the follow. We are usually shooting some images of outer space tonight. However, we are stuck with some high winds, and it's just going to be a little too much for the telescope right now. You're on Putsy's stream as well. You need my Putsy. You need my help. I don't know how delayed this is. I have your stream turned up.
Oh, Mojo Jojo subscribe as well. Awesome.
Mojo Jojo.
Oh, Mojo Jojo. Oh, whoa, what the hell is that? What the fuck's happening on my screen? Oh, that happens. Launch a firework emote. Oh shit.
Thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Yeah, I right now what I have to offer for my tier 1 subscribers is a cool little icon of my logo. So it's building. We're growing to get up there. I am listening to your stream. Yes.
Okay. Since you're listening to the stream, I need your help. Since you and Mojo Jojo and whoever else have been gifting subs to my channel to help me hit 50 subs tonight, I would like to dedicate a voice command on my stream to whatever you want. So a phrase that I say and a message that comes out. So it's either you can say whatever you want, like whenever I'm streaming and I say, okay, listen to this, whenever I say amazing. Amazing.
Make every day a little less ordinary. Mojo Jojo 671.
So it will have a text to speech, or it can be a personalized voice message from you. And I would like to implement that onto the stream, since you and Mojo Jojo and everyone else has been a great support to the stream. I would like to add that,
Oh, I appreciate
So
that.
it can be anything, a quote you wanna plug in yourself, watch Astro or something, whatever it is.
Oh God, I love ending my stream.
Choose whatever you want. Just let me know. You can send me a voice message.
With I say I'm not here to change the world. I'm here to share the universe, and that's my mantra about all this. Where I'm not trying to do anything revolutionary. It's just my pleasure to show you guys the stars in any way, shape, or form. So that's my thing, I guess. if that's concise enough.
Alright, so do you want it to be either just a text to speech, or do you want it to be a personalized, your own voice message? Because I can make that happen too.
That
If you want it,
text to speech is fun. I like hearing the
all you have
text
to do is
the
just
text to speech. Those are always.
send it to Discord, and I'll just use that audio. Alright, cool. Let me try implement that right now. And what phrase do you want me to say to trigger this thing? This phrase.
I don't know. I mean, for astrophotographers, we always want some clear skies, but we always want people to keep looking up. So
Can be anything.
I don't know. Look up to the sky. Keep looking up. I don't. You put me on the spot here.
Look up into the sky. Yeah, I did. I kind of did. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, just a fun little thing I would like to experiment with. Hey, what's up, DJ Bebop?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Something with looking up.
Okay, so Fulmine suggested Astro. Looking up, okay. Looking up.
all the fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's just something that what's so noisy?
Make plus say Astro and then a phrase you like. Yeah. So, yeah, my closing statement. That's what
I'm gonna go now. All right, take care.
I like to share. So
All right.
yeah. Again, Mojo Jojo, thank you very much for the sub. It's very kind of you. Appreciate it so much. In the coming weeks, we'll
Yeah, you can get up.
we'll be improving the.
Stream stuck. Uh-oh.
Oh, give me a second there.
Let me add a new comment.
It'll be back. There we go. I really I don't know why.
Just for now, I just put Astro as a placeholder. Okay. Text to speech.
There we go. It cuts out for some reason, but we keep it going. It comes back there. So yeah, the what I was possibly going to do was work on my layout a little bit as well. So, but appreciate the love and fanfare that's kind of come from the Putsy fam, and you know, those of you who have joined the observatory, I appreciate it very much. Enjoy my stream. Thanks, Mojo. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. And I feel like sometimes words can only go so far, and really how I want to show my appreciation for you guys is to bring you better content, bring you more of the stars to your screen, where you know, unfortunately tonight isn't the exact night that we're going to have that happen, but we are kind of looking through some older images that I've shot and, you know, getting a good feel for what's out there. And I think this is one of my favorite shots from the other night, which was the Crab Nebula. And that's part of a supernova remnant that exploded in 1054 AD, which was discovered by Chinese astronomers. And it's well documented in history. And it was actually, they referred to it as a guest star, because in that area of the sky there's nothing in there, and all of a sudden one night there's this very, very bright point of light, and it was this star that exploded. You know, just under 1,000 years ago now. So in 2054, that'll be 1,000 years since this has exploded. What's the phrase again? I'm not here. You write that in there. There we go.
Whenever you want to watch something about universes and astrophotography, anything to do with space, just tune into Astrocanals.
Yeah, always happy to talk astronomy, talk astrophotography. Yeah, from, you know, our nearest planetary body for the moon to the farthest reaches of the universe. I'm always trying to catch some new images, and definitely with the camera setup they have and the telescope, there's always going to be something new to see in the sky. And especially as the season progresses into the winter time, we're getting to a really interesting area of the Orion constellation, where there's tons of objects, and especially including the Orion Nebula, which was one of the first targets I really shot.
I'm not here to change the world. I'm here to share the universe. Astro Canuck.
Hey, I heard that. That's cool, man. Awesome.
Astro Find Stream. So we came from another streamer community here from this guy called Buddy.
So Putsy's going on now about how I actually discovered this. Yeah, we kind of watch the same streamer, Nutty, who does a lot of really cool YouTube videos. It just does stuff to kind of help your stream, help improve your stream. And there's a few things that he does that I've implemented on my site. I'm just listening to Putsy go on about what he has said.
Let's try it, build another community, kind of like that. But yeah, so check it out, Hayabusa. He's an awesome dude. He does astrophotography.
Yeah, so that's his end of the story. I was watching a stream from Nutty, who does a lot of like just chatting, but does some great videos on YouTube about how to grow your stream. And we ended up, I was involved in a raid on Putsy's channel, and just the genuine reaction from him was just ridiculously heartwarming. It was just a genuine reaction of joy that he got being raided from a large group from Nutty's stream. And yeah, I don't know, it was one of those things. I stuck around on Putsy's stream for a while, and just seemed like he had some fun things going on. He was always he wants to grow his stream as much as the next person, and more so. And there's been so many cool things that Putsy's implemented on his stream. And yeah, just happy to support this, just to support him, because it's yeah, just a really cool place that he's developed. And yeah, it's I mean, I can't say enough good things about him. And hey, thank you. Awesome, thank you. Putsy gifting the tier 1 sub to Full Mine. Awesome, thank you so much. Thank you. Dude, I appreciate that I appreciate it so much. Awesome. Yeah, I want to be able to give you guys so much more back. Now, little bits here and there. Like I said before, I love what you're doing with your stream, and Putsy, it's just, I got nothing but appreciation and respect for what you've done, and the times that you've helped me out to help me grow my audience and expose more people to what I do. I appreciate that so much. And really, I mean, thanks just can't be enough. So yeah, it's just this community that comes together on Twitch is incredible. And you kind of feel it sometimes that, people lose their faith in humanity sometimes, that they keep saying, but I think that's that's a, pardon the French, a bit of bullshit, because there are so many good people out there. You're one of them. Your whole community is a great group of people, and I'm thankful for being able to I discovered your channel. I was able to learn learn a lot about streaming, because I'm new to this. It's yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate every little bit. Yeah. Je parle un peu de français. Je regrette, je ne parle grand français. Pamplemousse. Je peux aller à la Montcrayon. That's about it. Où est la salle de bain? Always ask where the toilet is. That's an important one. Italian? Fluent. Oh. Oh, right. All right, Putsy's kind of cut me end the stream there, but yeah, thank you, Putsy, very much for that little mini host there. I appreciate that so much.
Sorry, my dude. Sorry.
Oh, you're still there. No, it's cool. Thank you. Just as many thank yous as I can muster.
I'm still listening.
Oh, I would be a great narrator. Thank you. I like, well, funny, and I I was only wondering maybe if I'm going to pick maybe an astronomy based book and maybe read a few
Distracting you a lot.
a few pages from my from a book, from some books that I like. So oh boy, the weirdest stuff gets clipped on here. Although, you know, watching Putsy's reaction earlier. Oh, this has turned out to be a really fun stream already. Yeah, it's. I've noticed very quickly you can have a plan that you want to do, and then 5 minutes later someone says something else, and it all goes to pot. And sometimes those are just the best unplanned things that you can do. You already enjoy my stream. Hey, thank you. Yeah, just it's usually not this this way, but because I have some crummy weather, I didn't want to kind of give up the chance just to shoot the breeze and see what comes up. So yeah, tomorrow night definitely looks like it's going to be a better night for some live astrophotography. Okay, Vic. Hey, how are you? Thanks for coming by. Hayabusa, thank you very much for joining the observatory. You are the newest member who will be observing the night sky, and I'm still working on my welcome pitch for those who come in. I just named it, our community, the observatory. In from Putsy Stream. How are you? How are you? I am, like I said, I'm still kind of building this community, and I've decided to call this whole thing the observatory, as usually this scope right here is uncovered and it's still dressed up in its Halloween costume. And yeah, we have some sustained winds at about 20 some odd miles an hour, wind gusts at about 30 plus, so it's not a good night for live astrophotography. So the plan here was to do some changes to the layout maybe a little bit, and just kind of share some older images. It's because what I usually do is I will take a 10-minute exposure of an object in the night sky, and we will ooh and ah at all its glory, and I'll share some information on that object. What we do have up here is the Crab Nebula, and that is classed as Messier 1. It was just a list of objects that was created by Charles Messier, and this was a supernova remnant of a star that exploded in 1054 AD. And at the heart of it is a pulsar, which is spinning at about, I believe it was 3,000 some odd revolutions per second. I'll have to double check on that there. Kvik is joining the observatory. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining our group. I will try to always be any clear night. I'm going to try to be imaging the night sky, and sometimes I do have some nights planned where I am processing some astrophotography images. So just to kind of give you guys a quick idea of what comes out of the camera versus what we get in the end. Where is our... This is one of our 10-minute images, and that is the Gamma Cygni Nebula, and that bright star up there is the star Saturn, and it is in the not Saturn, Sadr, S-A-D-R. And it's in the Cygnus constellation. And this is part of a larger nebula complex, but it is just a kind of an interesting area that's sometimes called the Butterfly Nebula, as you kind of have that middle, that dark lane of dust. Kind of looks like the thorax, and the red nebula is the, you know, the wings. So this is kind of like one of those single images that come out of the camera. And then once we process the image, what we get in the end is something like this background. This is that same area of the sky, but this is a fully processed image that I've done. And usually we'll take some images that I've shot previously, and we'll just have a look and see how they turn out. Sometimes they turn out great, sometimes they don't turn out that well at all, because there may not be enough time invested in the image. So when you are shooting images of the night sky, you take many exposures. So sometimes you're leaving the shutter of the camera open for a few minutes at a time. Why does Sadr look like that in the 10-minute subs? That is the filter that I'm using. It's a tri-band filter, and because the O3 and hydrogen beta is such a wide band, it does create this coma around some of the really, really bright stars. And you can combat that by shortening your exposure lengths, and that kind of mitigates the that halo, that coma that appears around the star. If you're looking at things through like the red channels, which may be hydrogen alpha, you don't get those halos around the star. So it is kind of the O3 hydrogen beta component of that wavelength, of that blue wavelength of the filter, that kind of creates that halo around there. It is something that can be roughly processed out, but there's a little work that has to be done with that. And for the most part, I'm not overly fussed about the bright stars, because some of the areas I do image of the night sky don't always have a very bright star to combat, or to deal with, sorry, so I don't have to worry about that there. Sorry, K. So is it K? What part of your name is separated here? Kvik end. It's okay if I just call you Kvik. Is that all right? Is the aurora part of astronomy? I live in northern Norway, so it's a regular thing here. I would love to see more of the northern lights. I've only seen them once, and it was when I was in the northern territory of Iqaluit in Canada. And just to kind of clarify for things to those of you who have just joined us and who have just kind of joined the observatory, I am a Canadian, if you may not be clear on the accent, but I am living in the UK. And Gvikende, Quick and A, but with a V. Gvikende, Quick and A. Is that cool? Is that good? Quick and A? A? Right. So yes, I am living in the UK. Excellent. There we go. We got there. Or KV. We'll go with one. We'll go with KV for now, but I'll remember that Quick and A. I am living in the UK. I'm in the east of Essex, because it kind of is the east of England there. And yeah, I've traveled around the world, lived in 2 major cities, but this is kind of where astronomy has taken off for me. Where it was about 4 years ago when I went to visit a local astronomy club. I had looked through one of the telescopes. They were looking at the moon, and I thought of the chance to just hold my phone up to the eyepiece and take a picture. And I just wanted to share that with everybody. with as many people as possible, because kind of to me, looking through the eyepiece and just and seeing that image of the moon, I almost felt a little selfish of that. So I wanted to do what I can to share more images of the universe as much as possible. So what I've kind of come to at the point now is I have a telescope and a camera setup and a mount that works well, that I can, pardon me, take these images with, at a very decent focal length. And while I am doing 10-minute exposures, it can seem a little long because there are other telescopes that could collect the light a little quicker and a little more efficient. But yeah, it's this is what I enjoy doing the most out of astronomy, out of astrophotography, is just sharing these images with everybody as quickly as possible, because I can't talk about astronomy enough. When I was in university, that's what I tried to revolve all my projects around. Tried to shoehorn that in there and try and make it about space. And I think overall things turned out all right for that, and it just kind of made me want to learn more about astronomy as much as possible. And it's an ongoing thing, because it's not a formal education, but I am, I'm researching from reliable sources, and just doing what I can to try and get the correct information. So there may be times when, I may not have the answer, but I'm willing to, look into that and try to be your astronomical Google to a degree. Right now, I don't have all the answers, obviously, but just being able to just absorb as much information as possible, and my way of learning is spouting that back out, and that just to just kind of confirm that information. So anything I've kind of picked up of astrophotography, about astronomy, is just stuff that I've picked up from, as much, like I said, as many reliable sources as possible. I'm not kind of getting my information off of, the Sun, or not the newspaper, the tabloid, any of those, the lesser reliable sources. Anyway, but it's, I want to be able to give you guys some trustworthy information, and if I'm wrong, I'm happy to admit that I'm wrong. And if anybody has some more deeper insight to what I'm talking about, by all means feel free to chip in, because that's just another way we can all learn and benefit from this communal knowledge that we accumulate. How do I go about seeing things like that? I want to see the rings of Saturn or a moon. That's not Luna, but I'm poor. Well, it depends. For Saturn, you could. I'm thinking with my previous telescope had a focal length of about 1,500 millimeters, which is going to be a lot more than binoculars. However, Saturn is still large enough that you can almost start to make out. I have to look in to see. I would look in to see what is the lowest focal length that you can use to actually see Saturn. Like on previous streams, I've imaged Mars, and that was just using this telescope, this camera combination. However, I'm not really photographing Mars. I'm actually doing like a video of it, because when you're shooting planets, it's totally different from shooting like the nebulae or any star clusters and things like that. So if you're looking to see the moon, to see a moon of another planet there, most likely you're definitely gonna need a longer focal length telescope and a bit of a better tracking mount to kind of to lock in on the object that you want to see. I imagine Jupiter is, well, being the largest planet that planet that we have in our solar system, and the Galilean moons that orbit it. There is. I haven't tried to do that myself, and I'll be honest that planetary isn't like a very strong area of what I do, and because it's a totally different setup that you would almost use, and I'm more of the wide field. But from what I've seen, people who have done some great planetary work is Damien Peach. He's a great one to look at. I mean, even recently, Trevor Jones from Astro Backyard, another Canadian, is doing he does fantastic work. I mean, he is pretty much Mr. Astronomy, or Mr. Astrophotography. And, you know, there's other people who pop in here. Rosine from Astrophotography, Tim from Astro Addict. Like they've done a lot more experimenting with astrophotography. And for me, what I've done is, I see Putsy still watching. I see you. I see you. So, yeah, there's a wealth of information, and like I said, I just like to bang on about astronomy in general. So do I still do any visual astronomy? Not so much. I mean, all my telescopes now are kind of rigged up for astrophotography. So my visual astronomy kind of comes from when I'm shooting and just kind of hanging outside with the scope. And it's more favored right now, in coming up to winter. You know, the trees have kind of died back a bit. There's the tomato plants have all died off, and there isn't a lot of space for spiders to hang out and crawl in my beard. So I'm much happier to stay outside in the winter. So yeah, come winter time, I'm happier outside with the scope, kind of looking up. I'm always on the lookout for binoculars, for a pair of binoculars that aren't too expensive, and that are nice and light and have a decent aperture and a focal length, just to kind of do some star hopping myself. So, I mean, that's what I might look into, just keeping an eye out for, maybe if there's even a Black Friday deal of a pair of binoculars that will do me well. I've actually used my old guide scope as just a monocular to look around. However, it is inverted and flipped. So it's a little confusing just to look around. Plus there was a crosshair in there, so you lose just that little bit there. So definitely look into possibly getting some binoculars. However, I think the main purchase that I do want to make is for the rig, and that is getting a dew heater system set up, because like I've noticed on the weather coming up, it's not going to be like that dew point is going to hit early in the evening, and if I start fogging over on the lenses and the mirrors, that's the night done, and we're kind of we're out of options for the night there. Let's see if I find another thing there. So yeah, I would like to get a good pair of binoculars, but then I'd also like to what do we got here, to upgrade the scope first among everything there. What do we got? We got part of the Jellyfish Nebula. That was a shot from the other night. This is one of the 10-minute exposures that we took. And this was one of those targets that I hadn't actually shot before, so I was really happy to get that in there. And again, it's one of those targets where you gotta have to have more integration time on there. Otherwise, you're it's still a faint nebula. It's not doesn't come off as bright as like the eastern or western veil. So there's a little little more time, a little more finesse that needs to be done with the object. Are the colors false? Ish. I mean, there's no processing that's being done to these images yet. So usually when you look at some Hubble images, those are shot with in the Hubble palette of the sulfur 2, hydrogen alpha, and oxygen 3, and you're assigning the red to the blue channel, I believe, and then the sulfur 2 goes to red, oxygen to 3, I think. I said I don't use the Hubble palette that often, or at all, sorry. But yeah, these ones that are coming out of the camera, it's doing the white balance. I am using a ZWO ASI 533 MC Pro, and I'm also using for most of these images, I'm using a tri-band filter, which is just the hydrogen alpha, oxygen 3, and hydrogen beta. And for the most part, I mean, the red stars look red, the blue stars are blue, and the white are a little tinted, just from the, there's only so much color correction that the camera is going to do in the ASI Air, which is just what I'm touring around with. That's hang on, I think I can get that there. Right. Yeah, also keep things low budget with a very cheap lavalier mic. But it works. So, hopefully I don't unplug this and don't corrupt any data. This is the ASI Air. It is a Raspberry Pi controlled computer that is made by ZWO. And it just basically hooks into your camera, your mount, your guide scope, your filter wheel if you use it, and it just controls your telescope, your camera, and it gives off its own Wi-Fi signal, which I am using right now. So yeah, this is the little box that controls my telescope and camera, and I'm gonna put that down so I don't unplug it, because that is what I'm using to look at the images up there. So the red clouds of nebulae they're assigned that color to make it visual for us mammalians. Well, from what's coming through the camera, the red is in that wavelength for the hydrogen alpha, is in the red end of the spectrum, of the visible spectrum for us. So it does appear red. That's what I'm trying to find another, maybe a little brighter nebula in here. Then that's what's picked up in the camera sensor. And there's only so much processing that can be done immediately out of there, but this was part of the Sol Nebula. And there are sometimes you can start to see, I'll see if I can try and find the Flaming Star Nebula, because that has a little bit of greenish blue in there. But yeah, the hydrogen being one of the most hydrogen, helium being the most abundant elements in the universe. We're picking up the hydrogen left behind, and in these being illuminated by these star forming regions. See if I can find the Flaming Star Nebula. Show that there. Actually, that's the. It doesn't come out too well there, but it is the. You tilt your head to your head clockwise. There, you can see the Christmas tree cluster, which the top of the tree kind of is part of the Cone Nebula. And this is one of those shots that I took actually at the end of one of my streams, and it's one of those objects that hasn't been up in the last season. I missed a lot of this area of the night sky, and it was just mainly due to clouds and also not having a telescope setup that was available to be turned on at a moment's notice. So I I have things set up now, as you can see just right there, and with my scope cover on there, so I'm ready to go at within 20 minutes, half an hour. I'm ready to start imaging. So before it was a little harder, because I would take that whole rig out at the beginning of the night and bring it in at the end of the night, because I had no way to shield it from the elements. And yeah, I wasn't going to be caught out in the rain with any of that. I mean, before this, I was using bin bags to kind of cover it up and hope that there wasn't a leak, so it would always, double, triple bag it and just hope for the best. But then made the investment for one of these Telegizmos 365 covers, and yeah, this thing has been fantastic, and I'm very happy with how that's turned out. So being able to set up, at a moment's notice almost, yeah, it's been fairly advantageous for me. And so if there was times when the night was, the weather was kind of crummy at the beginning, you wouldn't want to set up because you weren't too sure. Or other times when you would get the forecast saying it's going to be bad weather, and all of a sudden you look outside and it is clear and calm as anything, and you just kind of wonder if I was set up, But going from zero to a complete setup can take 45 minutes to an hour, if more, and it's a little more difficult in the dark as well, because despite if I have a headlamp, there's still I like to be able, if I'm setting up from nothing, I like to be able to set up it early in the afternoon and just take my time with things, and it removes that immediacy, that urgency, and it's just an overall better experience that comes from shooting astrophotography, because you don't want it to be stressful. It's something that I feel is very calming, very relaxing, and it's some quiet time to be out there. However, doing this with you guys is not as quiet, and I'm yammering on for hours at a time, and I'm totally happy to do that. And I'm trying to work out a schedule that's going to benefit all of us, where I'll do our astronomy sessions, but also take some time to do some long exposures, so I can get some more images coming through that we can work on during the rainy day astronomy. And like last Saturday, when I was I thought I would do 2 images, and that was supposed to be the North American Nebula and the Heart Nebula, Malot 15, and that went to pot pretty quickly, in a good way, because we had a few people pop in, and there were some great questions, good conversation that was going on, and I was just happy to deviate from the plan. And it took about 3 hours, almost 3 hours, to kind of come up with some kind of image in the end. And even then, I wasn't totally happy with it. However, there were a few things that were pointed out, and some ideas that were brought to my attention that I'm going to implement for the next time. and also just being able to, I stood corrected, and I was happy to be corrected on that. That I was talking about the tri-band filter that I use on the camera, and kind of mentioning that, you know, the hydrogen alpha is picked up in the red wavelength, oxygen 3, and oxygen 3 and hydrogen beta, which, there we go, we're caught up. Hydrogen alpha in red, oxygen 3, which I, for some reason in my head I had it in, that was the green channel, and hydrogen beta was in the blue. But the oxygen 3 and hydrogen beta are both in the blue end of the spectrum, so there really isn't actually any green signal kind of coming through on the camera. So it's almost a, I almost have to now go back to some of my images and create this green channel. So there's new work that has to be done, and I'm excited to try this out, because I have probably been missing out on maybe some details, and even with the Crescent Nebula that I shot months ago now, that there is more to it that I probably could have gotten out of this image. So there's always something new to pick out from your images, always something worth going back to with your photography, with your astrophotography images, because you just never know what's going to come up there. There we go. Here's a nice, the California Nebula. That's a wonderfully bright nebula, which picks out the reds very well. Now that color gradient that we're seeing in the image, this was, when did I shoot this one? This was with my 72mm refractor, so you got a much wider scope of the nebula itself. You're pretty much able to get the brightest parts of that in this one shot, and that's still using my ZWO ASI 533, which the square sensor. Sorry, when was this shot? This was 2002. 2002. My God. September 10th. How's the date going here? 2020 09 10. So this is back in September. Yeah, that was right, because I didn't have the RC8 for a while there. I hope to find a group of astronomy enthusiasts in my area that had some kind of organized stargazing planetary events, but I haven't been able to find one. Are they rare or what? I think it seems kind of in my area. There's like one, and then there's maybe some smaller pockets of groups that'll meet up, but they're nothing. Not a great official group. There are some dark, I think almost looking for dark sky sites would be almost beneficial, but you said you're in Norway, right? I scroll up on the chat there. There we go. Yeah, you're in northern Norway, so I guess if you're not near any bright areas, that you have more dark skies. All right, I'm gonna look at that up on Google Maps and see where exactly that is, because is it a large town or because I mean, also, yeah, depending on the population. Wow, you are really, really north. Man, that is awesome. There's a university here with astronomy, so I thought that would be a thing. Yeah, if the university isn't doing anything, see if there's anyone who is willing to reach out, if you're doing to if they're able to do any outreach over there, or if there's, you know, almost take the initiative and start a club yourself and see if there's more people out there who want to do that. Yeah. Third Rock Astronomy, how are you? Imaging the California Nebula tonight. We are not. Actually, the scope is parked and undercover for tonight. I have about 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts going on right now. It's about 25-mile-an-hour sustained winds. So things will be shaking the scope too much, and I just end up with trash images. So we're kind of going through some older images and really just kind of shooting the breeze. Yeah, events this year, yeah, it would be tough, and especially, you know, I don't know how things are exactly in your area, KV, but I know we're going in the UK. We're going into a national lockdown come Thursday, so it's going to be tough for any you know, any of these astronomy clubs to get anything done there. I think there'd be enough space in space, but yeah, it's and that's kind of part and parcel to why I wanted to really get this going, is just to give people some options to just see more of the night sky that wouldn't be possible. And like I said, I think there's that difference between looking at the California Nebula right now versus when we're taking images of it and seeing it come out of the camera that instant. But this was an image from back in no, it wasn't September. Much earlier. No, that date's not right there, because this had to have been almost like last season. No. Let's see. Sorry there if it cut out. Right. If at any point during this it kind of you get a little spinny screen, just give it a refresh, because I don't know what happens sometimes. I do know what happens, that my internet provider is lagging in their in their support there. But yeah, we're just kind of looking back at old images there. This was, I guess this was back in September. It was early in the morning when I shot this, probably at the end of one of the sessions when the California Nebula was just above the roof line. And yeah, that gradient again with the street lights, the sun kind of coming up at that point in the session there. But yeah, this image, this is another part of the California Nebula using the RC8 telescope, which is hooked up right now. So we're much closer on the nebula there. So that's at about almost 1,000 millimeters that we're looking at the California Nebula now. Yeah, the wind, Third Rock. Yeah, it's it doesn't always get too bad around here. I mean, up going a little farther north, I don't know if Quicken Day, because I guess they would have maybe some higher winds farther north in Norway. But yeah, I think a few weeks ago we had 36-mile-an-hour winds, and that was a storm that was rolling through. But usually we don't have anything much higher than about 17 miles an hour, and that's kind of just on the limits of what I'm gonna comfortably shoot at. So yeah, at this speed, there's too much kind of going on there, and like I said, the images would unfortunately suffer. So part of what I am looking to do with the stream tonight was also maybe do a little tinkering, because if I've noticed when I'm doing the the gaming nights, I like this kind of setup. This bigger, you know, not to be like egotistical, but it just seems like this is a better option to chat with you guys, and you can see a little more of my face, a little more of the expression, and I'm not just this tiny little talking head. And also being able to update the this little thing up here. So a little bit of a faux pas during the stream, but I am in a way kind of, you know, peeling back the curtain a bit and editing some of the elements on here and just creating a better environment for everybody to communicate in. I do like the little chat bar at the bottom. I think that's a cool little thing that I've seen a lot of people utilize, and some better than others, most better than me, but hey, it's just a way to start there. So yeah, just trying to keep things fresh. I think it's look, the stream has looked this way for a while, and I've changed a bit of the borders. They're no longer animated, and it seems like for the most part the laptop is liking that, because I don't have not as much of the CPU is being used up at the moment. So I think the underlying problems that I've been having with the stream lately is to do with my internet provider. So I need to check out exactly what's wrong with that. So this section that we are looking at right now is the Crystal Ball Nebula. Let me see if I can pull up some information on there. Because this was one of those planetary nebula that I hadn't shot before. And I didn't know how it was actually going to turn out. This is NGC 1514, and it's a planetary nebula, just very close to the California Nebula in a way. So it's not too far away from where we just were in that area of the night sky. Quick and day. Why haven't they standardized wind? Here we use meters per second. Some places use kilometers per hour. Some use, what measurement is that? KT per hour. Some use miles per hour. I guess some use that old school scale of how wind affects the ocean. Oh, some use knots. I mean, I guess if everybody used the same measurement, we wouldn't have anything to complain about. All right, okay, knots per hour. Yeah, I guess, well, you get the different measurements depending on kind of where if you're on land or sea. And again, why not just kind of, I agree, keep stuff the same. You know, metric and imperial. Why do we need a 3/4 inch wrench and a 10 millimeter socket and things like that? I don't know. But yet one thing we can all agree on is the height of steps. Is that those are pretty much, you know, the modern contemporary stairs are all the same height, except, you know, you look in where I am, we have an old castle, and actually the stairs are purposely staggered in height and randomized in height, because that would it was kind of used to confuse any invading troops. So they would trip up the stairs or trip down the stairs trying to get to attack anybody. So that would kind of give people a bit of an edge to escape. But yeah, if you even if you go to run up a flight of stairs that are a bit of a different height, you kind of notice that immediately, because for some reason we've managed to agree on stair height all over the world, and that's about as far as we got. Yeah, I think there's an average stair height. A step for what's the? Yeah, about a 7-inch rise and an 11-inch run for stairs. My workplace is an old building built without any standards, but now protected, and the stairs there are a nightmare. Roof heights too. Yes, the office that I used to work at, a few places that I used to work at in England, it's, you know, a lot of the places just repurposed older Victorian buildings, old Tudor houses that they can only bring up to code so much. So yeah, there's some areas where you had to duck through the doors, and wonky stairs, tight staircases in some areas. You know, I'm 6'1", so it can quickly get tripped up by the doors, or not tripped up. Some of the doors in the older houses I got to duck through. Even in my house, if I stand up perfectly straight without any poor posture, my head is just about an inch below the door frame. So, and there have been taller people that I've seen kind of. I mean, of course, there's taller people than me. Taller friends that have come by, and I live in a postage stamp size house, but that's England. So right, the Crystal Ball Nebula, which I thought turned out a lot better than I was anticipating. And again, I say this with pretty much every target, is that it's just something I want to image a lot more. So in northern Norway was burned to the ground during World War II. So the rebuilding was basically done by non-professionals wanting to have a roof over their heads. Fair enough. You're building for the function of it, not the form, I guess. So you just want to be able to, just get that roof over your head and stay safe. And even like coming from from Canada, from the North American roads and towns and everything like that, which were not at the mercy of early Roman settlements. I've noticed that around here the traffic can get really bad, and that's just based on the limited space that was available for city planning, whether it was just kind of how they were following things throughout history, or if it was just protected sites that they really couldn't build around or build upon or expand. So it's we're at the mercy of history sometimes when it comes to modern transportation. I really like this nebula. It was one of those things that I had caught this in, pardon me, in a wide field image when I did an image of the California Nebula and the Pleiades in one shot. and just below it was this tiny little faint blue smudge, which was the Crystal Ball Nebula, and I wanted to image it for quite a while. And it really wasn't. And it really wasn't until I actually got this telescope and camera set up that I'm able to get these images that I've really wanted to capture since I got into astrophotography. Also not designed for cars, but foot traffic. Yeah, no, there's some areas where the streets just are absolutely just completely uneven, and it's like a historical part. And yeah, just keep a spare ankle with you when you go into town sometimes. But the Crystal Ball Nebula, yeah, again, it was one of those things that I wanted to get, and just this whole scope combination. There's what's old targets are now new again for me, and there's so much that I want to image, and recently there hasn't been that many clear skies, and this week, aside from tonight, is looking much more promising to get some good shots coming out there. And like I said, Orion is starting to come up above the house, above the roof line there. I mean, you can see in the telescope just off to the here, I think I can get my mouse pointing on here. There we go. This is like the only screen I have that captures the cursor, which is weird. And even when I'm doing like the Photoshop editing, it's actually captured on there. And I've selected capture cursor, turned it off, and yeah. So yeah, this roof line, this is actually part of my my neighbor's house. That extends right down the end of my garden, but just above the roof line is where we're going to see Orion popping up over here, and usually the camera is actually situated here, so we're looking at the telescope a little differently. However, the camera is safely ensconced in the house, away from the wind and earlier rain. So yeah, once the wind calms down and Orion starts to rise a little earlier in the evening, we're going to get some cool shots that I've wanted to capture for quite a while, because my old scope that I had was on a alt-az mount, so it wasn't great for doing astrophotography because there was constant field rotation, and it just wasn't a smooth, it could only go up and down and left and right, whereas the equatorial mounts will rotate counter to the Earth's rotation and capture the stars, and also with guiding. James, Astro Addict replied to our tweet question about the satellite and meteorite with my Neowise pick. He says satellite and explains it well. Thanks for help. Cool. He says it has to be a satellite in my opinion, assuming it went from top left to bottom right. You see that the beginning fades in, but the end is abrupt. That means the exposure ended and the object was still there in the frame. A meteorite would be instant. I've seen Starlinks flying. Okay, cool. There we go. Excellent. We got an answer. Happy about that. Perfect. Excellent. Fabulous. I watched a lot of Astro Addicts videos. Tim seems like a really cool guy. Never had a real personal conversation aside from he popped in the chat last week, and that was kind of cool to see him in here, and yeah, had a nice little conversation that kind of went on, and yeah, it's a wealth of information from Tim with his astrophotography processing. And for the most part, I feel that what I can add isn't right now, like a lot of stuff that I'm spouting out here with my processing skills is basically kind of picked out from a few of these, the popular YouTube videos that are out there. So, you know, until I feel that I have more to add, I'm really just kind of, my processing can take days, and that is not the point of my streams. I'm not prepared to do a 32-hour stream of watch me fart around with an astro image and just start all over several times thinking, nah, I don't like that, I'm gonna start all over and forget it, just throw it all out and give it a shot and see where, and I can pinpoint where I've gone wrong. So it is, like I said, always with these images, it's just that little bit of finesse that you need. And yeah, it's sometimes things can go sideways pretty quickly in an image, and it's, you know, you got to go back and just gently bring the image to the point that you want. Otherwise, it can fall apart pretty quick. Are most nebulae created by supernova events? Things like the Crystal Ball Nebula is a planetary nebula where the star is shedding its outer layers. So things like so this one, let's see, all right, for the most part I'm kind of just reading verbatim as what the write-up is saying here, and this is from the Sky Safari app. NGC 1514 is characterized by a very dim, smooth outer shell with a much brighter inner shell and bright blobs. Measurements of the gas near the center indicate that it is expanding outwardly at 25 kilometers per second. The morphology of this nebula is thought to be caused by the presence of a binary star instead of a single star at the center. Based on the likely masses of the progenitor stars, their possible separation, astronomers estimate these stars would orbit each other with a period of 4 to 9 days. Gas is presumably expanding away from the larger star of the pair, which was probably 3 to 4 times as massive as our sun. That doesn't exactly explain. So the star would be kind of shedding. It's not so much a supernova, but it is exhausting its fuel source, and it's slowly shedding off its outer layers. And stuff like the Crystal Ball Nebula, the Owl Nebula, and I believe the Ring Nebula are a good example of these kind of things, what our sun will eventually do, where it won't go supernova, but it'll start to just get rid of those outer layers of hydrogen, helium, and eventually just kind of become a red supergiant and just slowly burn out into a planetary nebula, leaving just a little white dwarf, I believe, behind. Whereas things like the Crab Nebula was created by a supernova. So yeah, there's different types of nebula that are created. Some are created in the star forming regions, or just like the accumulation of hydrogen gas. And about from that point on, my information on that can get a little muddled. So getting down to like the chemical compositions of things is not to a point where I'm at the moment, but hopefully that kind of answers questions a little bit there. Like the Orion Nebula, that is a large stellar nursery where it is birthing so many stars in that area that it's just there are some areas that you can see the bow shock coming off of the stellar radiation blowing away the gases in the area, and that's, I don't have an image of that available, but no, I don't think I have any immediate examples of that. but there's some good examples from like I've seen of Hubble images of the like one of the most high resolution images of the Orion Nebula that NASA has shared. There's tons of areas in that image that you can start to see just that disturbance of the gases in the area, and that's where you have like these young stars being born. So yeah, the nebula can come from a supernova remnant, or it's more characterized by like a large swath of the hydrogen gas, like in the background image that we have up here of the Gamma Cygni Nebula. But let's see, what is IC417? Which one was this? It sounds familiar. I did one course of astronomy at uni, and I remember the Orion Star Nursery in the star formation chapter. I think Orion is, one of the closest star forming regions that we have in, that's closest to us. So it's the brightest one that you can see with the naked eye. Pardon me. When you do look at the Orion Nebula, or the constellation, when you see the three stars in that little faint fuzzy area below or above, depending, well, you're in the northern hemisphere as well, so you're going to see that below the three stars of Orion, and just that fuzzy bright spot is, I think it's just really, once I learned what I was looking at, as soon as I took that first photo with my original telescope and this camera that I'm shooting with right now, I couldn't believe that was out there, that I was seeing this through my camera's lens, or out of the back of the camera there, and like I was instantly hooked with Orion. And I know it's one of those targets that is great for beginners, and it's challenging for advanced photographers to really get that balance, because that trapezium core is just so bright, it's quickly blown out in long exposure images. So you do have to do that kind of high dynamic range of photography with it and blend it perfectly, so you're not even seeing that there's that you've been taking these different exposure lengths. So it's again one of those things that just needs that little bit of care and time that goes into shooting it, so you can get all those bright areas, or sort of the faint areas of nebulosity surrounding it, and you still get that bright core and that mid-range of everything that's lit up. So it's a target that just that's great to concentrate on, and some people have done some amazing work with it. And I was not to really pat myself on the back, however, I was fortunate enough to have my image of the Orion constellation chosen to be published in one of the gallery images from other astrophotographers in the BBC Sky at Night magazine. And I'm always trying to do what I can to improve my next image to be featured elsewhere. I've had my astro art shared in the magazine, in the Sky at Night magazine as well, which for some reason I can't remember actually writing about that. And one day I opened up the magazine, I'm like, holy crap, that's my image. So I thought that was just sharing those images out there and just seeing what kind of comes back there. And it's amazing how Tycho Brahe did all his work with eyesight alone. Yeah, that's another thing. It was where I'm seeing like all these early images that astronomers had sketched and recorded through just visual astronomy. And I am also going to lean into the way of, there wasn't really any light pollution at that point, so they had some unimpeded views of the night sky from wherever that they were imaging from. And yeah, you know, yeah, how early astronomy got so much information, and just how much they, not so much that they got wrong, but you know, how amazed that these early astronomers would be to see how far we've come. Like what we're seeing now is the generations, like a couple of generations that before us weren't able to see space in these kinds of images. He also hung out at Bornholm, tiny remote island. Now I'm looking up where that is. Is that near you? That's, I see, that's kind of in between both of us. That's a midway point. We'll meet on Bornholm one day. And we'll have a little star party there. Yeah, near. I just had a look where that island was, and like I say, yeah, that's right in between. That's like a midway point between where you're at and where I am. So, let's see. What was I looking at here? The IC 417. IC 417, also NGC 1931. What is its colloquial name? Was this the... Oh, right, this was part of the, what we're looking at right now, is part of the Spider and the Fly Nebula. So I think this was the Spider part of it, and the Fly was another nebula just a few degrees off from this one. Yeah, this is, again, one of those targets that need a lot more integration time than just 10 minutes to really bring out the details. One of those is also, I was shooting the Cave Nebula, and I definitely did not have enough time on that. And yeah, it was in need of more integration time. I think I only had about 2.5 hours, and it is such a faint nebula that it wasn't well received. Oh, this one, okay. The Monkey Head Nebula, which was kind of, this was like one of the last targets of one of the sessions, and I was amazed by just how bright this was. I didn't know what to expect when I was imaging this area, because I'd never shot this nebula before, and yeah, I was more than pleased with it. The positioning of it, I mean, it was still largely, you know, I didn't know what the formation of this nebula was, so I kind of went with what the telescope's allude to there, but I figured I could move it up, or move the telescope down a little bit there, and we would see more of the nebula. But it was yeah, one of those targets I didn't know what to expect, and I was thoroughly amazed by what I was seeing. This was just a 10-minute exposure, so I can just imagine how much more detail is going to be pulled out in a, you know, a 3, 4, or 5 hour image, and depending on how it sits in the sky, where is that there? You know, I could have possibly a few hours on this target there. There we go. So yeah, this is NGC, should be 2174. Yeah. So that's kind of like just at like the top of, it's like up by the, by Orion's arm. And yeah, something like that, if that's available. Let's see, that comes above the roof line at about, what time is it? At around 11, about 11:30. That kind of reaches above the roof line, and I could probably get, I could, on a, chances are I might even be able to get like about 3.5 hours. So 1, 2, 3, almost 4 hours I could get on this target in one night. Also provided that I do get a longer power cable for my camera, because I can only look so far to the south or to the southeast before it starts dangerously pulling on the power cord for my camera. So I do need to extend that cord a little bit so I have a little more freedom. And yeah, I think I could probably get some, I could just also clear the tree that we see behind the telescope here. So yeah, definitely we'll give that target some more time, because it's still going to be another 2-3 weeks maybe before Orion is healthily above the roof line, where I'm going to get enough time on like the Horsehead Nebula or Orion, or which one was that? M78, which is another, it's a bright reflection nebula. And for the most part, I've been shooting a lot of targets that are suitable for narrowband. And there was a couple of nights when I put in the broadband filter, but I think I do want to also change up the broadband filter. How expensive is your image taking setup approximately? It is a, everything kind of combined is over 4 digits. Not over 4, it's a 4-digit number. But it's also equipment that's been kind of accumulated over time and acquired through just selling some older equipment as well. So it's been some strategic purchases, and always it just kind of comes with, I guess, this kind of hobby where I'll weigh other purchases against astronomy gear, and yeah, just kind of not making a sacrifice. This is my choice. This is what I want to. This is what I want to, spend my time and money on, is astronomy gear. And like I've said before, the next round, the next thing I do want to get is a dew heater system, because the I had a single dew band for my 72 ED refractor, and that was just USB powered, one of those things that's just always on, there's no control over it. So I do want to be able to have a system that I can turn off and on when needed, and also because this is an 8-inch telescope that I have now, and it's much larger than what I've had in the past. So yeah, that's kind of like what any income that comes from the site, from this channel, and any money that kind of comes in from the adverts or the subscriptions, of which also I again thank you guys to the people who have subscribed right now. Again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate that to no end. And yeah, like any any donations that kind of will come in. Actually, I'm still working on a lot of things, but November donations that come in, not the subscriptions, because those don't get paid out until a certain amount, but any kind of donation that comes in, I am going to send those donations to my brother, who is raising money for Movember. And I'll do a little more to do on that in the next day or so, and just really drive home that fact that instead of any donations that are going to be going towards the astronomy setup, I am going to look to donate some of that money towards Movember for fundraising, and just a low key stuff. I'm not just doing what I can to kind of help my brother out with his fundraising, and yeah. But after that, like any money that's going to be coming in, I want to use that to upgrade the kit. As far as kind of upgrading the stream, I'm going to try to keep things as as free as possible. I am a graphic designer by training, and that's a 20-year labor of love and career that I've been working on. So a lot of this is going to start to change into my own style as well. So a lot of these are just kind of some free overlays that I started off with, just to kind of get my foot in the door, get my toes wet. And yeah, I'll be designing a lot more specific elements for the site. Like I said, the emote, the single emote that I have designed right now is basically just my there. That's just my mug. That's part of my logo that I've kind of created for the site there. And yeah, just come up with some other stuff to call our own. So it's to separate it from other people's streams as much as possible, really. But yeah, all the money that's going to be going is focused like 90% towards astro imaging upgrades, because that's where you guys are going to see improvements. As far as lighting and cameras, I'm fine with my camera right now. I don't see any point in changing this up. The lighting, my lighting is the computer monitors that I have, and a mobile phone behind me to try and work as a kicker light. And I see that my jacket is hung up on the door still. Oh well. Like I said, I'm not trying to do groundbreaking stuff. And clearly leaving my jacket hung up on the door behind me is ruining the mystery of where I am in the house. Studio, kitchen, studio. But yeah, four digits isn't too bad. It's a low to modest 4-digit number that's gone into all this. But there are other people that I've seen have put tens of thousands of dollars into their setup. And yeah, I am a graphic designer. I can think of some other crazy job, but no, that is what I do for work. I am a graphic designer, and yeah, this is my passion project. This is my alternate lifestyle. So, hey, Mojo. There we go. I am going to be working on some new emotes and some new badges as well for the subscribers. I'm just making them again more specific to what we do. Yeah, just making things as custom as possible. Like I wasn't too sure where things were going to go at the beginning. If anybody was going to really truly be interested in what I was going on about. So it was get some free elements that are going to make the site look kind of cool, and go from there. So yeah, and I say also, you guys, those of you who have subscribed and those who may be interested in subscribing, it's kind of, why do I want to subscribe? Well, I want to be able to offer some cool things in return for for your gracious donations and subscriptions. So yeah, like any kind of suggestions that you would almost expect to have in return within the price points there, because I do, like I said, I do want to create some new emotes, and just some other options like our channel points, which we have, which are they are labeled as photons, and I have used an image that was used from the University of Warsaw when they had a holographic representation of a photon versus a captured photon. So that is that's our little channel point option that we have down there. And right now, I think the only option I have is to highlight your message. And things generally stay fairly calm within the chat. There have been a couple of times when things have gotten a little hectic within there, and that's cool. But yeah, I just want to work on some other little things in the channel points. I mean, like, if you want to see some really cool stuff happening, go check out iPutsy. Go check out Putsy's channel. He has some fun stuff in there. Not to say that I won't do things like that, but I don't see that that's a direction that I would go at the moment. I don't know. We'll see. If anything, it would just be some cool stuff. Maybe I'll have like a supernova go off or something like that. I'll find a way to create some kind of overlay for that. What else would be something like, let's say, a tier 2 sub maybe chooses all the targets for the session. I don't know what else, like maybe, I don't know if we're doing, well, I mean, I guess the video game nights that I do are I try to almost keep them maybe as a monthly theme. So this month I will be doing more Watch Dogs Legion whenever there's some downtime between imaging and processing. And the main reason I wanted to play Watch Dogs Legion was because it is based in London. And last night I played that for a couple hours, and basically I ignored like the majority of the storyline and just kind of toured around the areas that I've worked in London, and I thought that was pretty fun. Just looking at the way how they've rendered the city fairly accurately, and there are some elements that they've kind of compressed or expanded upon just to kind of grow that world for the video game, and I get that. That's cool. I mean, I guess the same thing could be said about people who live in California, who live in Los Angeles and are playing Grand Theft Auto. There are elements of the city that are there and aren't there, so that are kind of reworked for for the video game world. So yeah, that's what I was. I guess November's theme would be playing Watch Dogs whenever there's a little quiet time with Astronomy. Yeah, October was mainly Phasmophobia, and I'm imagining that there's going to be some updates in that game, so that could pop up every now and then, just for some spooky gaming nights every now and then. I don't know what December would be. We'll see how that goes. Maybe keep on Watch Dogs. I don't know. It's been a while since I was actually excited about a video game as well. That I was really looking forward to playing it. And I think the last one was Red Dead Redemption 2. And I bought that game, and then I purposely went out and got the first one because I never really gave that one a fair shake. So I started playing Red Dead 1, and then Red Dead Redemption 2 is still sat there in my Xbox collecting dust, as it were. So maybe that'll be December's, because there are some winter scenes in there. So we'll see. I've been to London and Sheffield, and I like Sheffield a lot more personally. I have never been to Sheffield. I've tried to tour the UK as much as possible. I guess Sheffield never really... Where is Sheffield? Have I driven through Sheffield? I actually might have. Yeah, I've driven through Sheffield, and I've actually there's a telescope shop, Rother Valley Optics, which I get some of my gear from. Yes, I have driven through. I've driven through Sheffield. Can't say that I focused on it, but I was in the rough area, looking at some telescope gear to buy. Um, yeah, it was a long road trip. That was coming back from Scotland. I went to their dark sky observatory out there in where is it? In Galloway Forest Park, and boy, was that was dark. That was really cool to see. There were some clouds. It was the height of the Perseid meteor shower, and unfortunately there was just enough cloud coverage that we got a few clear spots, and a few people did see some meteors punching through the atmosphere there. But yeah, when I've never actually really been to a dark sky site before, so this was really cool to be in that much dark, being able to see, well, when the clouds separated enough and see that much of the night sky. It's just weird, because not weird, it's really cool because I'm in a Bortle 5 area, which isn't too bad and it's not too great either. You know, sitting with from 1 to 9, basically in the middle, and I feel that it is kind of pushing towards a 6 with some of the light, with the changes in the street lights that's going on right now. So a little bit of the night sky is being lost street by street with every LED light that's installed, unfortunately. I know there's a lot of people who are who are advocates, that's the word I'm looking for, who are advocates for light pollution and reducing that in many towns and cities. The advantageous part in my area, at least, that we do get the street lights do turn off from 1 in the morning till 5 in the morning, which is nice, and it is a marked improvement, even with the narrowband filter, when the lights are on and the lights go out. And you know, after that, when those lights are out, then it just improves the astrophotography a little more. So actually, here's a great example of broadband and narrowband, and why you need both of them. So this is the Triangulum Galaxy. Light pollution is so annoying. Yes. I have neighbors that they seem to think that their house needs to be visible to the International Space Station, and it can get annoying. And also at the same time, I don't want to cause any problems, because if they think it's a fun idea to start throwing pennies into my telescope, then we're gonna have a bad time. So deal with it. And mostly I am shooting to the east anyway, so there's a valley not far from that area that I'll try and pronounce later, which is legislated to be in low light polluted, because there's an Aurora research facility for research there. IceCat is the research facility. Oh, that's cool. That is. You're giving me all these places and I'm checking more stuff out. See, I would usually search on the computer, but at the same time, I'm having some good. Everything's going well on here. I think I tried to open up Firefox earlier, and everything just slowed right down for some reason, and it shouldn't. So I don't know why these system resources are being. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I'm just looking at the research facility there. Two Socks, how are you? Good to see you in here. Thanks for stopping by. We are at the mercy of some high winds tonight, so we are kind of just having a chat, shooting the breeze, looking at some old images, and just eagerly awaiting for the for sunset tomorrow night, when it's going to be much better weather in the forecast. We have like almost no wind scheduled, so good. Glad you're doing good, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Right now, at this portion, we are kind of I'm just going to show the benefits of narrowband and broadband imaging. So we have the Triangulum galaxy, and this was shot with the filter that I have used most of the time, which is the tri-band filter. So it is shooting a very narrow amount of light, so you can see most of the galaxy structure. But what's really popping out are these the reds and the pinks in the area, and that's all the nebulosity within that galaxy. So, you know, like much like our Orion Nebula, these are all nebulae within this. I'm currently smoking some chicken quarters with hickory and pecan wood. I will be there shortly. I don't know where you are, but I will be there shortly. That sounds delicious. Cricken Day, I have to go to bed. Hope to catch your stream another time. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. Thank you very much, Cricken Day, for joining the observatory. Like I said, for most of this week, I'm going to try to be out. I'll be out here doing more astrophotography throughout the whole week. So yeah, feel free to stop on by. And again, thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate the conversation tonight. Very happy to meet you, and we'll hope to see you again soon. Right, back to this chicken, this hickory smoked chicken. My God, that sounds delicious. If I hadn't already eaten dinner, I'd be trying to find a takeaway that'll do it. Hey, Putsy! Stopping by with a nice little raid going on there. Appreciate that, brother. The Putsy fam is in the house. I say that almost unironically. I don't know. Oh, good to see you guys in here. I'd say I hope you had a good stream, but I seem to have been a part of it for the last little bit there. So appreciate you guys stopping by. How are you? How was the remainder of your stream? We are, like I said, we're at the mercy of some high winds, so it is just a little bit of reminiscing and just chatting away on things. Excellent. It was great. Yeah, no, I was. No, it was fun to be. It's always fun to be in your stream. You got you play a lot more games than I do, and you've got me hooked on a few games as well. So, yeah, like I said, I waited to start the stream because you were going on about that story about Red Mart, and holy potatoes, man. That's crazy. No, and also, you know, thanks for letting us in on your personal life there. It's always, you know, people can be very guarded online and on Twitch. So, yeah, I do appreciate you sharing your story there. And you've had an amazing night as well. Overall, you've reached 50 subscribers, so congratulations, Putsy, for that. Reaching 50 subscribers tonight. That was cool to be a part of that, and I'm very happy that you've reached that level as well. Yeah, definitely, with all the work that you've put into your stream, it's amazing stuff, man. Yeah, for those of you who are in our channel and you're interested in some fun little games and, you know, a cool stream and some much better channel points than I have at the moment. Yeah, check out Putsy, give him a follow, and yeah, always happy to share the love between the channels. Yeah, Mojo being the Mojo, the big hero of the night there. Um, that was a very touching thing to see on Putsy's on the clips there. Sorry, I kind of missed that live, but there's just just that genuine reaction, that just the love that you have for the community of Putsy is fantastic. Now, if I had more things set up, I would build a little shout out thing. That's another thing. It's still working on a lot of this stuff, and you know, it'll come. That was so. Yeah, that was incredible. That was a great moment to see. Yeah, but you're human, man. It's cool. It's, you know, I don't know what it was. Somebody might have been chopping onions in the house as well at that time. So, yeah, it was just a really touching moment. Yes, I'm comfortable in my masculinity enough to say that I may shed a tear now and then. Not a monster. Yeah, so like I said, we're shooting images from outer space, but tonight we're looking at some old images. And also I want to get rid of that part that says live feed on there, because that is not a live feed at the moment. So this is an older image of the Triangulum galaxy, and this was shot in narrowband. So of the visible spectrum, there was only a small amount of light that was making its way through, and so that was the overlay. Yeah, it's just a PNG. It was one of those free overlays that I found. Like I said, I was saying earlier that I'm working on designing my own overlays as well, being a graphic designer. I just wanted to get a lot of this stuff kind of quick up and running to just to kind of build the overall look. So I got a rough idea of what I'm looking for there. So eventually I will, pardon me, make things a little more custom. Like the most custom thing I have right now is my my little channel markers up at the top, the telescope and the heart and the observatory, and the channel points for the photon, my logo, you know, my tier 1 emote for those who are our subscribers, which will be a little less egotistical than just my face. I will change those up a bit. Yes, the observatory is the sub count. I might switch things up because I've kind of named the group, our group, the this is our is the observatory. So I might switch things up a bit so our followers are a member of the observatory, and the subscribers, I'll pick a new category for what I will refer to for you guys as. Third Rock, yes, I am a graphic artist. I have been involved with graphic design for the past 20 odd years. So it's done all sorts of things. I've built websites. I've moved away from building websites because coding is annoying sometimes. However, I've kind of retained a lot of that knowledge. You see, your chibi face is cute for Putsy, for your emotes. Those are cool little things. Where's yours? Why can't I find my emotes? That's what I'm looking for. That's it. Your little chibi ones, those are adorable. That's got it's way more personality than my stoic face. Capone Gaming, thank you very much for the lurk. Appreciate it. Thank you. We're having just a little chit chat while the winds are blowing outside. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the cheers for the lurk there. Yeah, love those emotes, Third Rock. That's cool. Third Rock, quick poll: Pluto, planet or not a planet in your humble opinion? So yes, we get lots of HTML steals your soul. It totally does. And I started off just trying to code everything by hand. You know, I was before I kind of discovered Dreamweaver, I was just typing out the whole HTML or codes, you know, line by line. I was doing that and building some rudimentary sites and going from there, eventually dabbling into like JavaScript, and I started getting into Cold Fusion, and I got out of that pretty quick. That was just way too much faffing about. I think the most advanced I kind of went into was using PHP. It was yeah, it's been my choice to kind of move away from website building and just working on making stuff look pretty rather than functional. I'll let other people, like coders, work on that a little more. But yeah, still retaining some knowledge of that, so it's kind of come in handy for some other projects that pop up at work or any freelance bits. Pluto is still a planet. Just because dwarf is in front of it doesn't mean it's not a planet. I still call Pluto a planet. I still say planet. I'll throw the word dwarf in front of there, but when I was growing up, Pluto was the 9th planet. And I don't hold it against Neil deGrasse Tyson and the Astronomical Society or Union, who deemed it no longer a planet, but I'm of the generation that Pluto was the 9th planet. Pluto shrinking is more of a Rick and Morty thing. No, the definition of a planet doesn't fit within the way how Pluto is situated. It's closer to being in the Kuiper Belt, but it's on such a large orbit, and it doesn't follow the same orbit as other planets there. Yep, same here. Pluto was a planet to me as well growing up. What defines a planet anyway? There was 3 criteria that had to have been met according to the International Astronomical Union, where the body had to be large enough to clear out the surrounding area. Oh shoot! I'm just gonna pull it up because I did a project. I actually wrote my dissertation on Pluto and its discovery, and just how graphic design kind of helped pave the way, or how much we learned in that time from discovery back in 1903. Yeah, when Clyde Tombaugh discovered 1930, until the New Horizons flyby, and just how much was learned and how much we thought we knew about Pluto. Right, planetary definition. Right, it orbits around the sun, has sufficient mass orbiting the sun is the first part. B, has sufficient mass for its self-gravity to overcome rigid body forces so that it assumes a hydrostatic equilibrium nearly round, where most planets aren't. Like Earth is like mildly squashed, so its diameter is a little larger around the, or circumference is a little larger compared to the North and the South Pole, as Saturn is about 10% wider than it is compared to the poles. And the third part, it has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit so that there isn't any more debris around it there. But because Pluto is kind of within the, I guess the Kuiper belt, not the Kuiper belt, yeah, that there's still other bodies around that area that are about the same size as Pluto, and maybe even just a little. It hasn't cleared out its whole area, so there's that gray area where they've made this definition. Yeah, with New Horizons showing Pluto alive, should have been enough. Yeah, it's amazing what, like, how far we'd come. Like a lot, like for the most part, even when I was picturing Pluto as a kid, it's this icy planet. I'm like, yeah, it's blue. Pluto's blue. And there was an amazing graph. It was done by Alex. Oh God. Wow, the name escapes me. I have him on Twitter. I gotta find it because he made this this graph, this color graph of what everybody thought Pluto looked like. Alex Parker. Yeah, he made this color chart of what people assumed Pluto looked like, and it kind of very heavily edged towards like the blues, because a lot of people figure it's cold, it's icy, it's got to be blue, like how Neptune and Uranus kind of are. So yeah, once New Horizons flew by Pluto and we saw that it is not this cold, icy, solid ball of ice, that there's so much more to it. So being able to go from this tiny little speck that Clyde Tombaugh discovered in 1930, and then from what we thought it was, from a very blurry image from the Hubble telescope, and just eventually this high resolution image that was created, it's just kind of one of those things in a generation where we have gone from discovery to basically confirmation of what this thing looks like in our solar system. How long it's taken for us to get there is just an amazing achievement for humanity. And those are, to me, those are the important things that we should be really looking into. So it's, yeah, and people kind of wonder why fund science? Like, what has science ever done for me? And you ask that question to Google, and there is your answer right away. Science has brought you your mobile phone, your Wi-Fi, and all that stuff. But that's a different conversation for maybe for a different day, because I think we can go down a weird rabbit hole with stuff like that. And actually, all right, to be fair, I've opened Firefox, and yes, I don't use Chrome. I had a bad experience with Chrome. But yeah, everything actually has worked out, is moving along pretty well. And I think that also, because I was trying to work on my stream where I wasn't creating so much bandwidth, or overloading my encoder, and everything seems to be working out fine so far. And I think it's also because I dropped the animations on all these frames I had going on, and they were such minuscule animations that if you're looking on a mobile phone, you probably wouldn't even have noticed it. So I ditched them and just went to the static images, and overall things have been going pretty well, except for the times when my internet seems to cut out and and just bugger things up a bit there. the ice volcano methane plumes that were going off of New Horizons was incredible. I can't, like, there's so much data that they got out of that mission that it's amazing how much research is coming out of this. Jump back to the other question. Do you encode via GPU? What do I use? I think I do. Yeah, I use the, oh my God, the settings button has run away. The encoder, the hardware NVENC. That's what I use on here. I'm not about to touch those buttons at the moment. I'll try that for maybe on one of my gaming streams to test that out a little more. But we'll, I mean, everything seems to be handling things just fine. Usually if I fire up Space Engine, that might muck things up a bit there. Brave browser is good. Okay. Right, yeah. So should I jump back to Third Rock's question there? What has science done for us? Computers, cell phones, including cameras, smartphones. Thanks, NASA. That's true. You know, just all the stuff that's kind of come up there. OBS you can encode via CPU or GPU. I use GPU to prevent the CPU from bugging. Yeah, what's my CPU doing right now? CPU is at 30, jumping between 25 and 34% right now. And that's also because I am not running, I'm not running Stellarium, but I might chance it and just see how things change up there. Because why not, right? And I might need it to resize my windows. Although I've gone 2.5 hours into the stream now, saying that at some point I was going to start to muck around with my settings on here. And well, we see how well that's turned out. At the most, I've expanded my my viewer counter, just so it, pardon me, doesn't display 1. So, because this is a casual stream, I am reaching into my magical box and getting some water. Yeah, I was saying I was gonna muck around with the stream, and also look, I've had this Triangulum Galaxy up here for I don't know how long now, because we were going to talk about just that just how well narrowband and broadband works for galaxies there. Right. Oh, actually, the moon would be in prime position for some imaging had it not been so windy out. But if we were to, I'm gonna, tomorrow night, definitely will be looking at the moon, because, well, it's just in that area of the sky, and that is about the image that we're gonna expect from the moon. So we're gonna get the moon nice and centered in the frame tomorrow night, and that's with the 0.6 reducer. Whereas if we're at the native the native focal length, and there it goes again. The internet has gone out again. Why does it do that? It's like it does that when I'm not connected to. There we go. We're back, and we're back. Welcome back. Got some jobs for you. There we go. Right. So if it does kind of time out there for a sec, give it a second, because I will be right back. There we go. Yeah, buffering on me it's my end. It almost seems to do it when I have the Wi-Fi connected to something else, where I'm not running for some reason Wi-Fi and Ethernet at the same time. Everybody's like, well, you plug in your Ethernet and it's all good. It doesn't seem to be all good. So that's another thing I got to look into, and that's definitely a post stream checkup that I got to do there. Have you looked at Carte de Seal over Stellarium? I'm sure it's not a pretty to look at, but it's way less of a resource hog. I will check that out for sure. I think, yeah, I'll see how that one looks. I was kind of using Stellarium. It's as being a bit more of a visual thing to use there. However, if it is, well, what's it doing now? Let me look at the resources. GPU 0 is at 70%, GPU 1 36%. Yeah, I have used Stellarium to control the scope as well, but with the catalogs that have been added to the ASI Air, I haven't had too much of a problem finding things. Also, I can use Sky Safari with that as well, which I actually haven't tried recently, actually since the latest update. And it's one of those things where I guess now that I actually have a few days of some clear skies, I can do a little more experimenting with the setup and see how much I can get the system to cooperate. Because there were times I couldn't get Sky Safari and the ASI Air to sync up properly. And I think actually there might be some settings that might have been reset over time. And yeah, we'll see how that one goes. Because usually everything can be controlled fairly well. And like I said, with the dew heater system that I'm looking to pick up, I should be able to control it from inside the house as well. Sorry. I had a lot more of an issue with Stellarium and with my Losmandy mount, whereas CDC works flawlessly every time. I mean, that's something definitely I'll take note of and have a look at and see how that works for me. I think it also kind of worked for picking out some of the targets that I'm still, well, there's the Sharpless catalog was recently added to ASI Air, but still not familiar with everything in that catalog. All right, being distracted enough from what was my coffee cup, and I picked it up and it was ice cold. I forgot that I put the cold water in there. I'm thinking, damn, my coffee got really cold. So yeah, back from the tangent an hour and a half ago, looking at the Triangulum Galaxy, which was shot with the Altair Astro tri-band filter. So it is just a narrow band, but you can just see those the nebulae in that galaxy are much more pronounced. You can see them over the stars. And that was one of the nights, another one of those 10-minute images taken with the RC8 telescope that we're using now, and then compare that against another 10-minute image, same galaxy but with a broadband filter, and you can just see that there's, you get better color with the stars in the galaxy, and you're seeing more of the shape there, and it's not kind of almost washed out amid the background there. And the nebulae that we saw earlier, just they're still there, but they just don't stand out as much. So yeah, when you are shooting galaxies, generally you would use you want to go for the broadband filter to catch as much of the light coming from there, and then using those narrowband images to localize the nebulae and highlight those areas later on in post-processing. Oh, all right. I did not know I could swipe with my laptop there, and nor that the images were swipeable. That's cool. So I didn't have to go back and do that little bit of faff. See, okay, so you get a little bit of comparison between, it's a little bit of a broad look there, but so on the left we have our broadband, on the right our narrowband image of the same galaxy. Same focal length, same exposure time. You learn something new every day. I'm happy to have taught something new every day. But yeah, so that's the one of the, I guess, almost the rare times that I've been able to better illustrate my point on things. And I think actually for the most, again, always thinking about what the next little bit of kit is going to be for the scope. I'm thinking that there should be the addition of a filter wheel, whereas I'm using it for, I'm using these sessions, so if we do go from a galaxy to a nebula, I can at least move from a broadband filter to a narrowband filter, and maybe look to add just a hydrogen alpha filter into the mix and just see what details we can start pulling out of things. So that's I'd say that would be probably second on the list. I know they just added the autofocus feature to the ASI Air with the automatic focuser, but yeah, I'm not sure where that kind of sits on my my list of priorities at the moment, because if I'm switching between scopes, I don't want to be assembling and disassembling the focuser all the time. So it's either none or two different focusers that I have to get. Whereas if I am adding like a filter wheel to the camera, that's just going to stay with the imaging train and move to the other telescope. So yeah, I would say the priorities are going to be dew heaters. Next nice to have would be the filter wheel, and then way down the list would be the automatic focusing tools, which I'm not too fussed on right now. I have my Batinoff mask that serves me very well. I love that tool, because otherwise, I would have all sorts of defocused stars, despite the best efforts that you can do. It's just that Batinoff mask is just really nice to be able to have those images. And I think I might actually have taken if I saved an image of a focused star, so you guys can see exactly what I'm going on about there. Autofocus is money depending on the scope. Yes. Oh, all right. Okay. Well, this is not Deneb for some reason. Why this is in here? However, this is one of the images of the Pelican Nebula that I really love. And what was this? That was 10 minutes. And again, one of those things that if I had a few hours on this target, that would look amazing. I would definitely love to get that in there, to get some more time on that. However, that is now basically crossed the meridian and is not helping things out with the trees are going to be in the way for that. And I just got a notification of saying the encoding is overloaded, and I had some dropped frames. All right, so Stellarium is eating up some space there, as best as I can imagine. So bye Stellarium. Again, this is also ways to streamline things. So maybe I will check out the carte de ciel and see how that works there. Example, the Celestron focus motor for the SCTs is garbage, screws back out all the time, and you have to have it loosely on or it binds and doesn't work. Ooh. It just sounds like such an afterthought then for their focusers. Yeah, I think I was looking. I almost bought the ZWO focuser, but after a quick bit of research while I was out, I didn't get it, and I'm happy that I didn't at the moment because A, there wasn't any automatic focus set up yet, and B, it wouldn't have fit on my telescope without a few extra little pieces that I would have had to buy. So it's frustrating when you buy a piece of kit and then you realize, I need all this, I need this, that, and the other, and then it'll work. So that's also another thing I'm looking for the dew heater system. Is everything going to fit on my scope, and is it, pardon me, going to be central? Will I be able to keep everything? Do I have to buy any extra cords? You know. The other option is a Starlight micro-touch focuser on top of a autofocuser. That just seems like you're just adding more steps there. You bought one and it was a pain in the rear. That was the ZWO focuser. Also why I went from Schmidt-Cassegrain to refractor. Yes, for the most part, after getting my refractor from, I had the Celestron Nexstar 127, which was the Schmidt-Cassegrain. No, the Celestron. Okay. Moving from, or was it, no, it's a Maxitov. Anyway, that type of telescope. The refractor was just the images that came out of that telescope, like right out of the gate, was almost the stars were sharper. It seemed so. I truly do think that I am more of a refractor kind of guy, and for the price of the refractors that I'm looking at, were much greater than this new telescope that I have right now. And for the most part, I was interested in getting a Ritchie Chrétien design scope, and I welcome the challenge to get that properly collimated. And there goes the internet again. I will be back. At least my face was kind of frozen in a all right position there. My browser encountered an issue. Refresh. There we go. Everything's working again. Yeah, it just keeps doing this. Man. Well, the stream died on you, eh? Well, we'll see how that goes. I mean, things kind of came back over here. So, man, technology sometimes, I swear. It is against me sometimes. Well, it's against everybody. It can't be singling me out. Can it? So yeah, definitely looking forward to the challenge of collimating this scope, because it might need it just a little bit. If I still want to adjust the distance from the flattener to the camera, because I think it might be a little off by a few millimeters. So I want to change out those the extending the rings there, and just kind of maybe bring it in a little bit. Yeah, I think I need to bring it in just a touch. I can achieve focus, but everything on the close to the outside still looks a little elongated. So good luck. I was told by my local telescope shop RCs are a pain in the rear to collimate. I've heard that too, and I've also heard other people say it's just take your time with it, and You know, I think that's the other thing, is that I need to know when I'm definitely going to be clouded out for at least a week, so I can be all right with taking things down and and then getting it all sorted out. But what I'm going to, my first step for troubleshooting is just to make sure that the distance is correct from the flattener to the sensor, and just see how that works out there. So we'll see how that works. For those of you who have just joined into the stream, thank you very much for stopping by. Usually we are taking some live images of outer space. I am Tom, I am the Astro Canuck, and right now we're just kind of, we're just shooting the breeze right now. We're just having just talking astronomy, talking any other little bits here and there, and we're just looking at some old images that we've taken, as we have been encountering some high winds tonight. And even for the sake of what I was hoping to even just image the moon, things aren't in our favor tonight, unfortunately. So we're just having a chilled session tonight. So I don't know. So in regards to the type of telescope that I have, which is a Ritchie-Chrétien design, don't know if you collimate them the same as a Newtonian or the same as a Schmidt-Cassegrain, if it's similar to a Schmidt-Cassegrain. I think what I've seen from some of the videos is that you're taking off like the entire back mirror of the RC, but you're also lining things up with I forgot the name of it. I recommend a AstroZap artificial star. Yeah, there was another piece of kit. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it. Not a Chester. Was it a Chester or a Chesley? I have to look that up. It was another type of collimation tool that I think it was like almost like it's a. When you defocus, when you're defocusing to get the rings there. Laser collimator, but there was a certain name for this. Now it's gonna bug me until one of us comes up with a name. It was like someone's name that it's a laser collimation tool. I'm gonna find it, and as soon as I see the name. Hotech, no. That's not it. Cheshire? Hotech, Jumel, no. Oh boy, I'm gonna find this name. I think it's a Cheshire collimation tool. At least that's what I've seen people banging on about. I think that's the only kind of other thing I'm seeing pop up there. Cloudy nights. What are they saying? Or a Howie Glatter. I might be looking too much into this, thinking that the expensive tools are the ones for the job, and it's probably going to be something that's much cheaper that's going to make my life easier. That's the other thing I've kind of learned, is that the most expensive bits aren't always going to be the best for the job, because it may not even be the tool you need. You know, so it does come down to doing a little more research and making sure that you have the correct items. So a quick process of collimation is that you're lining up your primary mirror, which is at the back of the scope for reflectors, and for my scope, the secondary mirror is right up at the front, and then that bounces the image back through a center in the primary mirror, which goes to the camera. And then there's Newtonian telescopes, the Newtonian reflector telescopes, where you have the light is coming in through the front, bouncing off the primary mirror into the secondary mirror, but then that shoots off at a 90-degree angle into your eyepiece. So collimating that is that you're aligning those points to be reflecting all in the same direction, so that you're going to have all the light converging at the right point at the right time, so you don't have any shift in your image where it's where you're going to see, you're not going to have a perfectly aligned stars. There might be some blurring around there no matter what. So as long as those mirrors are perfectly aligned, then you're going to have a better image coming through there. And there's a process. People told me I needed the $500 Hotech for my old scope. I grabbed an artificial star instead. Downside, you need a 24 to 30 meter straight line of sight to use it. Yeah, I guess compared to for what I have, I have like a straight line from my front door to the back of my garden, which is, I would say that's probably about that much. While my house can be narrow, it does go back a fair amount, so I would probably try that. However, that does mean leaving the back door open and more chances of frogs hopping in, and then I gotta play find the frog. But I think there have been some other, I think also just, making an artificial star with some tin foil and a torch. You can just put a pinhole in there and you got a fair makeshift artificial star. Thank God I stay on the 10th floor. I guess if you started getting frogs in your flat there, Putsy would be a little, where the heck did this frog come from? Yeah, I set it up my driveway and the scope in the backyard. Or garden for the UK. Yeah, when I first moved to the UK, people are talking about the gardens. I'm thinking, okay, well, I have a garden in my backyard. And they're like, no, that's the garden is the backyard part. Like, why not call it a backyard? You know, why do we drive on the parkway and park in the driveway? Language. It's hilarious. But holy potatoes, it is midnight. I know a lot of people from the UK, so it's not hard for me to use the proper terms. It's a small language barrier between North America and in the UK. What was this one? What was I shooting here? It's a wonderful double star. However, where the heck was this? Oh, DSO. Why am I? It's 8 a.m. You're too high. Well, you've had an interesting night tonight, Putsy. So if you are still jacked from your stream, that is completely understandable. So how hard was it the first time you asked about biscuits versus scones or cookies versus biscuits? Oh, hang on a second. Sorry, I'll answer that question in a moment. We have wildlife in the back garden. Come on, stay there. I don't know where it went. I saw a bunny. There's a bunny in the backyard. The garden. The backyard garden. The back garden yard. There's a bunny. Or a cat. A bunny cat. I just saw it at the bottom of the screen there. Most likely a cat shitting in my begonias. Nah, I think it's gone. That is my telescope's Halloween costume. I taped a couple pieces of bin bag to it, so it's still wearing its Halloween costume at the moment. As soon as I take the cover off tomorrow, I'll get rid of its costume. Actually, there was one night I checked on the scope and I totally forgot about the Halloween costume, and the light from my bathroom was on, and it just had this eerie glow to the whole back garden, and it was really just illuminating the scope cover, so it looked like a floating classic ghost in there. So yeah, right. So how hard was it the first time I was asking about biscuits versus scones, or cookies versus biscuits? Wasn't too bad. There was some other element. To be fair, I've always said that I tried to Canadianize the language with some people I was working with, and just try and influence them as much as I could. But for the most part, I eventually succumbed to most of the language. Although the one thing that kind of confused some people is when we talked about beets and beetroot, that they're very, very similar, and why not assume that it is the same thing? But yeah, like pickled beets and beetroot, they're the exact same thing, but just that adding that little bit of root to the word here just changes like the reference of what it is. So that was one of the confusions that I was like a bit of a head scratcher. But that was like 8 years ago now. So right, well, that that little bit of wildlife. The bunny buggered off pretty quick there. Referring to gas and petrol. Sleeping in versus having a lie in. Little things. It was, that little bit of culture there. The wife and I have been eyeballing the narrow boats on canals over there. They float around to a clear dark spot, set up on the towpath, and image, break down, float on. There are some one of the guys I used to work with, actually, he built his own. He lived on a boat for quite a while, and he showed me some pictures of what he had made in there, and it's incredible use of space that people do with these houseboats. And yeah, he had like some amazing setup in there that you're looking at it. It's almost like it just looked like a thin kind of house. You didn't get the idea that you were actually looking at an image of like a living room on a boat. So yeah, the idea of that is fairly interesting. I think having a reliable power source as well would be crucial for trying something like that. Unless you are even just doing like visual astronomy. But yeah, I think that'd be an interesting kind of trip to do, because you have tons of canal space that you can use and just park up in your home every single time. So I think that would be an interesting kind of trip to do. Right. right. Was there... I was searching through the images for an image of a focused star. I don't know if I have one saved. Which was, again, how long ago was that? When I said, let's look at what a star looks like when it's focused with a Batten-off mask, as opposed to just pulling one up online. I'm going to, because I can't, if I could add some tags to these images and search that way, that would be a nice little addition. 11p. What is that one? That almost looks like, is that Tulip Nebula in there? Dufos. Enhance. I was thinking 11p, that would have been a comet that we were trying to track. Maybe it was just in that area. I think it might have been just in that area. Well, I am not, if I, in my searching throughout the rest of these images, if I do find a focused or a defocused star with the mask, then I will definitely take note of that, and we'll kind of share that along the next time there. Mars, how did that turn out? Rubbish. Here is a white disk. This is Mars. Well, it is Mars, but it just doesn't look like Mars. I have other images of Mars. Actually, I have other video of Mars. If you check out some of the earlier videos, probably from early last week, we did image Mars visually with the scope using the focus mode on here. Right, what else? The GSC right. I believe that boy, 3 hours. I said to myself, you know, I'm going to run this, we'll kind of come up on this stream and just kind of, the RC, sorry, it's, what is it, about, I think, 8, no, I don't want to, not 18, about 15 kilos. That seems too excessive. About 20 some odd pounds, I believe. It's the carbon fiber version, which really doesn't take off much weight at all. So weight 7.5 kilos, so it's about yes, it's about 16, 17 pounds all by itself there. All right, buddy. I think I should try and get some shy before I fall sick and won't be able to stream tonight. Once again, I'd like to thank you for all your support you've given me. You are awesome, my dude. We'll be catching more of your streams whenever the weather allows for some sick astrophotography. Good night and good morning, brother. All right, Putsy, take care, man. Yeah, amazing event that you, amazing stream that you had tonight. So happy to see just some genuine reactions and some community banding together with you. Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you so much for popping in there. And Thank you very much. Gifting 2 subs tonight. Gifting a tier 1 sub to Craggy Ron. Thank you so much. Thanks, Putz. I appreciate that so much, man. Man, thank you. I appreciate that immensely. It's been a wild night between the two of us there. I mean, yours has been much more incredible, and yeah, thank you so much for the support. Thank you all for the Putsy fam who've come by and have joined the observatory. Can't thank you guys enough for joining in, and just it means so much that people want to hear more about the night sky and learn more about astrophotography. So yeah, I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Yeah, get some sleep, get some rest, and we'll see you. What would be, yeah, later today for you, tomorrow for me. Well, I guess no, it's midnight now, so later today for me too. So take care, man. Well, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for bringing in the raid, as always. Mojo Jojo, the hero of the night. You are, you brought Putsy to joyful tears, and I'm sorry I missed that one live, but watching that replay was incredible. Yeah, thank you, thank you guys so much. Yeah, appreciate that. So yeah, I think where are we at? Yeah, the RC telescope weighs it's just under 20 pounds. So let me see. All right, Putsy, take care, man. Lurking, perfect. Hey, the lurking works. I like that. Yeah, I definitely need to work on some more of those bot things, and I think there's some other stuff I can do to automate a little bit more to the site, just to take some things off my worries. And yeah, I mean, for those who are interested in checking out any other of my avenues of astrophotography, 23 gigs tonight. Wow, yeah, save that VOD for sure. That was that's one for the records there, man. Yes, so up above we will have from, there we go, point in the right direction. Just beside the viewer count, we got my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. YouTube, I will be I'll be sharing these videos on there at least 24 hours later, which I have discovered as an affiliate. I am exclusively broadcasting on Twitch. So anything on Facebook is going to go up at least 24 hours later. Anything on YouTube is going to go up later, because there is still a limited amount of time I can save my VODs on Twitch, I believe. I think until you make partner can they be saved for an indeterminate amount of time. So I'll just be making sure to keep these on record, and yeah, you never know what you're gonna catch on a live stream. Like, we almost caught a bunny, you know. It's about as far removed from astrophotography as possible, but hey, anything can probably happen on the stream, so we'll always keep an eye out for something there. Let's see if we have one more image just to kind of leave off on. Old Balls, hey boy, how are you, Pops? We have had thanks for stopping by. We've had an interesting evening. We've had some great conversations, some great interactions with Putsy and his stream, joining in with the raid of his fans and followers, and appreciate that so much. And sorry, I do appreciate it so much. I don't mean to be looking away from the camera. Appreciate everything you guys are doing right now. I mean, it's been a short time that I've been doing this on Twitch, and yeah, the response has been amazing, and I appreciate it so much. And I say that, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I really want to come up with a new adjective or something to express my gratitude, because yeah, there's just so much that you know, the outpouring of support already that's come through, and it's you know, it's a little not over. Well, it's, I guess it has to be overwhelming, because I'm not familiar with this kind of support from a community in this manner. So it's refreshing. It's it's invigorating. It makes me want. Okay, to be fair, it was windy, and I almost thought about not doing the stream because it was crummy weather, and it was just one of those. It can quickly get you down. You're psyched up for all this, and I'm incredibly happy that I said forget it. Let's just shoot the shit and just have some fun looking at some old photos and just seeing who stops in and what kind of conversation we can drum up. And again, one of the things where I thought I would just be looking through some old images day by day on here, and we've gone off on many tangents tonight, and it's fantastic. And this is what I love about the community in Twitch, is that you just never know exactly which direction things are going to end up at the end of the night. So yeah, I mean, thank you guys so much for coming in. I appreciate that immensely. And my gratitude, I want to express that more with being able to bring you guys more images, sharing more experiences with astronomy and astrophotography. And just being able to, for those who have subscribed, reward with more incentives to join the observatory and join that next level as a subscriber. And if there's something that you feel that you would like to see as an offer, for the levels of subscription, I'm glad to hear any kind of suggestion, because if it's something that I can start to offer to put forwards, then that's something that can encourage more people to join in. And by no means is a subscription going to be necessary. It's one of those things where it's just an extra little perk, and ultimately that's going right towards any more astronomy gear. So it's not one of those things where I'm saving, I'm using this money because I want to buy the new Xbox One X. That's so far removed from where the priorities are with this channel. Question unrelated. Go for it. And yes, so glad you joined in on the fun. Yes, I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you joining in on everything there, Third Rock. Even your input the other day about confirming about where the O3 and the H beta are actually in the blue end of the spectrum. It was just one of those things that for some reason I just glazed over on where the wavelength is, So yeah, definitely having to synthesize that green channel is something I'm going to look forward to. Heard a rumor of Scotland going back into full-scale lockdown on Thursday. Scotland, I did not see the news on Scotland. As most I saw is that they weren't reporting any unfortunate deaths from COVID, but the UK, England is going back into a large scale lockdown come Thursday. Scotland, I'm not too sure what they're doing. They've kind of done things a little differently, and it's England that's going to be doing that on Thursday. So in a way, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be working from home for a little bit, for quite a while actually, and just taking advantage of things. So yeah, if they're going back if they're doing a full-scale lockdown as well, then hopefully that works out well for everybody in the end there. So yeah, it's it feels like it's a bit of a step back for what's going on, but I mean, if that's what we have to do at the moment to try and I guess salvage any little bit of the holidays coming up, then then that's the minor sacrifice that we have to work on, or that we have to deal with at the moment. So it's we're taking, you got to take the time now to save the rest of the time for later. So it's at the same time, I'm using this as a, taking this opportunity to be able to do this. I'm at home. I'm we'll be back in lockdown. More concerned what happens after Tuesday here. Yeah, I mean, all the best to you guys in the States for for this election, because it's an interesting tipping point in history where people are going to stand on things, and we're at a weird point that we're witnessing like science and history unfold real time here. So we're not being able to look back on what has happened, is that we're living this. So it's it's an interesting time to say the least that we're watching right now. So exactly. Indeed, positive memories during tragic times. I just want to be able, for me, this is what I want to do, and I hope that more people are going to come in and enjoy it and be able to just maybe take their minds off of things for a while. Borky Plays, how are you? Thank you for coming in. Appreciate that. How's your day been? Oh, we are about to probably wrap things up because I've gone on about 3 hours, 3.5 hours now, and where does the time go? Like I said to myself, maybe I'll do like an hour and a half and just kind of pop on for a bit and shoot the breeze there. Very well. Just woken up actually, saw you streaming, and was gonna say a quick good day. Well, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate that. I see you're just starting your day, aren't you? Or I am ready to go to bed shortly. Actually, I was probably ready to go to bed like an hour ago, but it's just fun to do this, to be able to talk about astronomy and just really anything. We've kind of gone all over the map today, which is kind of fun, and maybe we'll. We can still do the imaging, and all this can go down as it is. Time is definitely flown by for sure. Yeah, Mojo. Interesting night. It's been a really interesting night there for all over the board. No worries, man. Yeah, had a bit of a sleep in. Have to wake up a bit earlier because I'm interested in learning how it all works. Yeah, no worries. We'll be doing this again tomorrow because the forecast is looking much more favorable. Tonight we had high winds, and it wasn't going to be imaging wasn't going to be on the cards for tonight. So while that little frame does say live feed, that's just a PNG file. And it used to be animated, but now it's not, to save some encoding space. However, that was the Little Dumbbell Nebula that was shot on the 10th of October. And that's another planetary nebula, also kind of known as the Cork Nebula, or also another apple core looking nebula similar to the larger Dumbbell Nebula. And let's see. This was just one of those other planetary nebulas that I had never shot before and didn't actually know how well it was going to come through in the camera. So again, pleased with how this came out. The background that I used. This is the background that I used for the streams wallpaper, is my Gamma Cygni Nebula, which is turned out to be one of my favorite images in a while, and I think it's just turned out incredibly well. And this was only about 2.5 hours worth of images, so I can't imagine how much more detail I could pull out if I had taken more time on this target. But yeah, it was kind of one of those times where weather was iffy, so I had like one night on this target, so very happy with how that turned out. Yeah. And like I was saying earlier at the top of all this is I was going to try and move around some of these windows and rearrange my setup a bit, and those plans went out the window, which is fine. I mean, it I don't mind when other people kind of pull back the curtain on how a stream is kind of set up, because it's also just an interesting way to kind of get in their head a bit. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, just the way how the how this train went, it just turned into some good conversation and some good questions that have popped up, and yeah, just looking at some older images that we had taken pictures of, and yeah, it's been a fun night and gone on much longer than expected. However, the bonus of this is that I don't have any I don't have to cover up the scope. I don't have to pack anything away. I can end the stream, shut the lights off, and go to bed. So, which I will probably be doing in the next minute or so. So in that instance, I'm going to see if there's anyone around to pass you guys off to in a fairly modest sized raid. Now, also forgive me if all of a sudden everything goes crazy as I load up Twitch, which it might. Nice. Have a good rest, man. Thank you. I will chill. It's also, I figure it's a little earlier that I'm going to bed tonight than I anticipated having, because I think tomorrow night might be, like I said, the weather looks to be rather favorable. So I think I will be up a little longer, depending on. Okay, here we go. There's a fellow Canadian who is playing Phasmophobia at the moment. Hopefully this works out there. So I will look. We'll see how this goes. We'll pass you off to Alarming Bunny in a second here. So I want to thank you all for coming in. I want to thank Putsy for the raid. Putsy for gifting some tier 1 subs to people. I want to quickly go down this list here. A sub to Craggy Ron, a Putsy rating, Quicken for following, joining the observatory. Hayabusa joins the observatory tonight. Thank you so much, Putsy, for gifting to Full Mine another tier 1 subscription. Mojo Jojo subscribing to the channel tonight. Thank you so much, Mojo. Full Mine joined the observatory tonight. 754 First Fusion has joined the observatory tonight. For what was going to be a modest little jump on to just say, hey, the weather sucks, here's a couple images from prior nights, has turned into an incredible night. So thank you guys very much. If you're not following Putsy, check him out. And he is a Singapore streamer, and he has some fun stuff on his website. Totally different feel from what I do here. He's playing all these random games, and it's just a fun time on his stream as well. And thank you guys so much for all the support and appreciation that you've given me, and I look forward to bringing you more images of space and in my own fashion here. And like I said before, I'm not here to change the world. I'm here to share the universe. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening. I have been Tom, the Astro Canuck, and I'm going to pass you guys off. Hopefully this works. If not, it's going to look rather silly. To Alarming Bunny. She is a Canadian streamer as well, and she's just playing some Phasmophobia. Yeah, see how this goes. Show her some appreciation, and we will check you guys out tomorrow night. Thank you so much. Let's see if this goes, because if it doesn't. All right. Thank you guys once again. Have a fantastic evening, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.